87th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the third week of April 2012. This episode is titled Cloud Sourcing. CloudFocus Weekly is sponsored by Arkus, your cloud computing experts, and the Permissioner. Permission sets done easy. I just did that. I am Jason Atwood, and joining me today for the 87th time in the history of all things CloudFocus Weekly podcast is Justin Edelstein. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. It's Friday. It's a good day. It's nice outside.
It's beautiful.
Good thing we're inside in the studio.
In the studio, the closed, windowless, airless studio. Don't even know what it is. It could be raining. It's supposed to be raining for the next 3 or 4 days. And miserable here in New York.
Don't tell me that.
We have a blog post, and we have an agenda. One
All
before
right.
the other. The agenda today, we have a new blog post that will be up soon-ish. Maybe actually not today, but maybe tomorrow. About how to publish an app on the App Exchange. Kind of a cool how-to blog post. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about the Kickstarter project that has gone absolutely insane. Sort of cloud sourcing, if you will. There's that title. We had some Salesforce degradation this week, which we will talk about. And then Amazon launching a marketplace. And then we'll finish up with our CloudFocus app pick of the week, or picks of the week, and we'll go from there. So let's start off with the blog post of the week, which is about, it's kind of timely, amazingly how this is so timely, as you are the blog master.
How does this happen?
How does it happen?
How does this timeliness happen?
Yes, this is probably an agenda posted for everybody to the blog post. So this week, it is a blog post about something that I don't think everybody would do, but it's sort of something that, it's nice to know how to do it, which is how to publish a App Exchange product listing. So this is our second app that we launched. We launched Compliance for Chatter, and now we have launched the Permissioner, which we launched last week. And so we thought, kind of like here's like a little how-to if you're ever having to launch your own. The many different steps, well documented and with pictures and all. Not going to go over it, but it's not necessarily like, it's not an easy process. So you can shake your head, but I just want to let you know that the people on the podcast can't hear you shake your head.
Well, I don't want to talk over you as you're talking,
All
so
right.
I'm just giving you some visual feedback.
Here, for the rest of the podcast, I'll just look at you and tell what you're doing. He's looking at me. He's smiling. Now he's laughing.
Can we do this like a old school telegraph where you put the word stop in
Stop.
so that I know when I can start?
Okay, you can start at any time. Just jump right in. So that's on blog.arkusinc.com. Any comments on it?
It's very palatable. So it's not intimidating in any way. We tried to make it easy to go to this blog post. It's not going to tell you every single thing that you're ever going to have to do, but it does give you a good idea of the steps and the processes involved with getting something from, development into the App Exchange, where it's then available to, hundreds of thousands of Salesforce orgs and millions of customers. I think there's over 1,000 apps now in the App Exchange.
Maybe 10,000?
Really? I don't think so. Actually,
1,000?
Yeah, I do.
I think it's 10,000.
I don't think so.
Oh.
I'm gonna check on that. Let's see if we do like a. Is there like a view all
Oh, it says up there. It says over 1 million installs.
installs? That doesn't give us a number of apps. That's a good question.
That is
How
a good
many
question.
apps are there in the App Exchange?
I think it's 10,000. But anyway, so the one thing that I learned during this process, having done this process now twice, the one that I learned about was really the security review. It's interesting that
security review is no fun.
Yeah, so just for you out there who are thinking about it, when you write custom code and you want to publish that code into the App Exchange, the Salesforce, they make you go through a security review, which they dig into your code. They give you a tool to do it yourself, but I'll tell you that the tool that they use and the tool that you can use are different, because they can come back with stuff you can pass perfectly with your own tool, and then you give it to them and they come back and say, oh no, these 3 things. And so just put that into your timeline, that it's not just that it could take up to 4 to 5 weeks to get it through, but it also could go through many iterations. So you go in once, they say no, you have to go change code, you come back. So if you're looking to launch something, I don't know, around a big event, I don't know, like maybe Dreamforce event.
Or a local CloudForce.
Yeah, start early. I would say start really early. And the more complex, definitely the more you should think about it. But anyway, and if you haven't checked out our 2 apps, go do so. The Permissioner and Compliance for Chatter, which are both live. So that's the sponsoringness of this podcast. So let's talk about a little bit. So this is interesting. I don't think we've talked a lot about Kickstarter, but since it's breaking news this week, I thought we should talk about it. I saw this. I'm a big Kickstarter fan, as you know. I've bought. Now,
I do know.
I've bought more than a few. In fact, I think no, this one isn't. But I've bought many things on Kickstarter. I love the concept. Well, let me tell you what Kickstarter. So Kickstarter is a website. It's for people trying to raise money by crowdsourcing. So you go and you put up a project, you put up a video and description, and you say, I'm trying to raise money for this. It can be a movie, it can be a poster. You've funded one that was a record.
Yeah,
I mean, it can be anything.
I funded a few things.
Yeah.
The most recent was a record, an album that got funded, and well, I'm sure you'll go into what you can.
Stop.
What level?
Stop.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So what you do is you post it all. You then give it's a time period, and you post a bunch of different sort of you can backing. So you say you can back it with $5, or you can back it with 100. And usually, if it's a product,
it's a pledge.
Yeah, it's a pledge. But you usually, if it's a product, you're usually including the product in one of the pledges. So at the $100 level, you get X, and if the $200 and the $500 and $3,000 level will come to your house and make you dinner. So they post what you'll get in it, and then you pay through Amazon Marketplace, which is really smart. Like, just make it easy. So I found out about, I think the first one I bought was Pad Pivot. It was an iPad sort of holder that kind of folded up and could do a lot of things, and I actually use it all the time, so that was good. But what's cool about it is that if the thing gets funded, they take your money, and then they go to build it, and they give the money to the people to go do the thing, and then they post updates about what's happening. And sometimes, I mean, I've had ones I sponsored back in like November who are still like doing the process, but you can follow along. They post videos. It's very cool. And then if it doesn't get funded, then it gets closed, and then they don't take your money. So they basically say it's not funded, didn't make the minimum. So I've done I think 5 or 6 now. I think I've gotten 3 or 4 of them. It's fun, and the videos are usually fun. They're kind of like homemade. So that's Kickstarter. There's one that came up last week, which is called Pebble, the e-paper watch for iPhone and Android, and it is a electronic watch that connects up to your iPhone, Android, and communicates back and forth. I won't talk any more about it, but basically it can run apps that are sent from the iPhone. It can pull the GPS. It connects via Bluetooth. I saw this 2 weeks ago, and I think 2 weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, when it was just about at $1 million of funding, or maybe $800,000 of funding, and I went, yeah, I'm in. I went for the one where you get one of the watches, and then it went crazy. It hit Engadget, and over a week and a half period, it's the highest funded Kickstarter project ever, and it's up over $5 million people have funded. And their goal was, can you scroll up to see their goal, please? Their goal was to raise $100,000.
Where do you see that?
It says right under there.
So they've done their goal.
Yeah, 37,000 backers, and they have 28 days to go. So they are clearly going to make this watch, which is cool. I mean, it's just such a cool concept, because then you get to see the updates. Again, it's like buying something, but it's like buying it and then watching it get built just for you. So it's a very cool process. Kickstarter, I think, has been amazing. It's been a huge phenomenon. Again, people do movies, they do video games, shows. It doesn't have to be something technology, but the technology ones go through the roof.
Yes, it's a geeky thing.
Us geeks go in there and bump it up.
My friend did a Kickstarter. He started a project. It didn't get fully funded. It was a iPad case holder, like made of like wood. It was interesting. It was an interesting concept. I backed him because he was my friend, but then I got my money back.
Yeah, so it didn't get funded.
It did not.
Yeah,
but I did fund an album that got funded, and I pledged the amount where I get to download the album, and I get a limited edition 7-inch vinyl of 2 songs that aren't going to be on the album.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was like a little incentive to give a little more.
Definitely, if you want to, everybody should check out Kickstarter. It's just fun to watch the sort of process. And it's a ways for people who can't, who aren't Apple, Google, whatever, don't have millions of dollars to go raise money. You can raise it through people. It's very, very successful. If you haven't just gone to it's Kickstarter.com, spelled the way it sounds, you should at least go poke around because it is some fun stuff, and back a few if you want to. Again, I'm almost addicted to it, and certainly if you really want to get, if you're a Kickstarter project, get your stuff on Engadget, because that was the launch point.
That seems like the key, right? Have Engadget just pick you up, because then you have millions of people reading that every day.
But interesting the way that the internet now can just, again, crowdsource, which is impressive. Now I know with the new legislation that was put in from that was signed into law, I think 2 weeks ago, which is actually making small businesses allowed to crowdsource. So I wonder if Kickstarter or other projects will now build around that to say you can crowdsource small businesses, which is an interesting concept as well. So
yep, we actually know some people doing that.
Yep, yes we do. And I would have made this. Well, when this thing comes, do I get to use it as my pick of the week when it comes?
Sure.
All right, great.
I want to hear all about it. Because I will not have one.
It'll be in September or something like that.
You got a ways to go.
I got a ways to go. Next up, in some not so great news, head on over to trust.salesforce.com and look at the...
It's not a pretty picture for NA3 users. We're not on NA3. I have not heard this from any of our customers, which is kind of surprising because I have to imagine at least one of them's on NA3, but I haven't heard anything from anybody.
Explain what's going on.
So right now, if you go to trust.salesforce.com, which is Salesforce's real-time, incident reporting and uptime reporting mechanism, you'll see that there's a info icon for what you really want is the green checkbox, but there's an info icon for NA3 pod NA3 for the whole week, and it looks like it goes back even further because I was looking at this earlier in the week. It goes back all the way to April 11th, which is 9 days ago. There's a search issue, so search performance has been there's been a degradation of search performance on NA3. So much so that, which I think was caused by like some manual error, some issue with a person doing something incorrectly, that they have to actually re-index the data for every org in NA3.
Wow.
Which is why there's still the degradation still on. So the re-indexing the full instance over the next few weeks, that activity will have no performance impact on search during its execution, but I imagine they're going to continue to keep this reported. I'm looking at the root cause now. The problem was created by an operator error while performing a routine hardware upgrade. So an erroneous command was executed, and the search tier began to exhibit incomplete search results. No fun.
Yeah, incomplete search results. That's sort of... The thing about search is you don't know that it's not
you
working
really don't.
Because you expect it to work, and when the data's not there, you just think it's not there.
You basically are like, interesting. I know John Smith exists. Like people like me who navigate with search would notice that. I'd be like, no, I know this person exists. I get there by looking for him. He's not there. What's going on?
Yeah, I just did some training for some clients this morning, and I always start and almost end with search. And
I too always start with search.
Just say start with search.
Because it's like at the very top, it's like that's the thing. That's your Google.
Yep.
You go there and you look for things. And don't enter things until you look for it first.
I will say a nice feature additive, which maybe I'll go add to the Idea Exchange today. I had one the other day. But would be new button, a create new on a search results.
Yeah, I want that.
Because
I want to create new things everywhere.
Well, when it's 2 steps. You'd like to search, but then you want to create that thing new right from, okay, I see it's not here. Let me go create a new one. And you can't do that.
I think we need to do an all ideas exchange
show.
where we go through.
Is this like is this right up there with your March Madness idea that went down the tubes that you didn't execute on, and now we got an all search?
We're gonna do an all idea exchange because we keep a list of all the ideas that we as Arkus have both submitted and have voted on.
Yep.
So we should go through that list and give like 10 of them.
Top 10
our
episode?
Favorites or whatever.
Our favorite ones that we want people to vote on.
Have not been delivered and we want people to vote on.
So basically plug our own ideas.
Well, not ours, but ones that we voted on.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, some of them could be ours, but just go through the ones that we voted on that we want.
Great.
We're doing that.
All right.
We're so doing that.
I want to see you write it down.
Not now. I can't type. We're in the middle of talking.
That's true. It's not like you have a laptop right in front of you either.
No.
All right. Well, I mean, going back to the degradation, it's something that happens. It's interesting. It always brings up that story, and I probably told it on the podcast, but if you're a new podcast listener, bear with me. But when I worked at that big firm, when you worked there too, although I think it was before you joined, we had a huge outage. That we were I was in the website division or whatever, the internet division, called internet marketing. Internet marketing. And we had huge hardware for our website, and they were it was basically backed by a mainframe.
Yeah.
Right? The whole thing ran on a mainframe.
Right
All the
on.
web servers were small web servers, but then there was a big mainframe that was the database. And I don't know if for those of you out there know about mainframes, mainframes are great and very stable and, keep on trucking, but if you reboot them, they take up to 12, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to reboot because it has to go down and back up again. It's a big process. It's not like, this machine that probably reboots in 30 seconds or a minute. So someone sat down and there was two. There was the production server and the test server, the test mainframe, and they're literally physically different things, but there's different keyboards. And someone sat down and went to reboot the test one and hit, put in the command, are you sure? Hit yes, and it brought down everything. It brought down an entire website that was getting, millions of hits or whatever, and it brought down for 30 to 40 minutes as everything had to come back up again. And so in the meeting when the technology people were trying to explain to us, because I was on the business side, and they tried to explain to us, well, this is what happened. Of course, I think my boss at the time said, why don't you just have like a sticker on the keyboard that says production? Wouldn't that just make sense? Like, why not just, I don't know, that's probably a 10-cent change. Just put one that says test and then one on another keyboard that says production.
Why couldn't they just put them at different desks? Like move them across the room from each other. There's so many simple non-technology.
Or how about, when, the are you sure? Because it always asks you, Linux servers or Unix servers ask you when you reboot. I guess most do, but they ask you by the command line. Are you sure you want to do this? Maybe put in another line of code that says, "Are you really sure? This is a production system. Please type in the name of your boss. We'll fire you if you if you do that." Kind of like Salesforce's refresh of the
send
sandbox.
Email.
Yep. All right. So it sounds like it's still going. Yes.
It looks like it's still. It looks like they're gonna keep it
in info
in the info mode until the whole instance is re-indexed.
Right.
But they're going through it now. They know the issue. They're solving it, and they're re-indexing everything over the course of the next few weeks.
Interesting that it takes weeks to re-index.
Well, there's a lot of data, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean that's something. So maybe Salesforce needs to put a sticky on something. So
maybe
it's production. And then last up in our agenda this week is Amazon launching a marketplace.
Yeah.
Well, we should be more specific. They have many marketplaces. In fact, Amazon is a marketplace.
That is correct.
But they're launching a marketplace for their it's an AWS marketplace. So it's for their cloud services.
Yep.
Which I had not seen this. This snuck by me. But allows you to find applications that you can then instantly install and run on their AWS cloud infrastructure, which is their, to boot up like virtual machines, and you pay by the hour for processing. It's like got all this stuff in it.
Yep.
Very cool, because it's one of the things about the Amazon Web Services, AWS, that is so sort of daunting. Is it's not easy. I've done it, and it's not like click click go. It's more like get to command line, get this thing going, like read a bunch of documentation, have a good day, sir. But this makes it look like if you want to get something up and running, pretty easy. And then including an application stack on top of it. So not just getting you a virtual server, but then
you can do. I'm looking at the business software section.
Yep.
And there's CRM, like you can get Sage, Sales Logics, you can get Sugar, you can spin up all these, different instances of these products. I'm looking at inside of the collaboration section, there's, you can spin up wikis.
Yep.
Or the project management section, you can spin up different software. And there's some pretty big names in here. There's WordPress you can spin up, or Drupal. There's an IBM Web Content Manager Standard Edition. I mean, there's tons of software in here already, which is pretty interesting that, they've just launched it, and there's, 341 apps in here.
Yeah, definitely something I want to play with. I went and looked for Plone because I was like, ooh, that'd be cool. This Plone. Now, again, remember, for all you out there, you're paying for like the computing power, so it's a little bit. They always say when you boot one up, remember to shut it down, because if you don't shut it down, it'll just keep going. Like I'm looking at one here that's, it's 2 cents an hour for the server to run. So 2 cents an hour. So not a lot. You can certainly boot something up for 10 hours, test it, and then put it back down. You're like, oh, I just spent 20 cents. But interesting, really interesting. I think if they make this easier, it'll be great. I know some of the products that we use run on top of AWS, and they have really built out a great environment. All started from the history of where they had excess capacity because Amazon would prepare itself only for 1 day a year, which is the Black Friday. And then they had all this excess capacity. And like, well, what should we do with it? So then they turned it to allowing people to use it. Very cool, and certainly pretty much the most cloudy news we have today.
I would say so.
You wrote in here as a talking point, late to the party.
I did.
Thoughts on that?
I don't think they're late. I think they're later, but they're early in what will be this spectrum of how to acquire and deploy and purchase software, particularly to the enterprise. I say late to the party because, Salesforce obviously has had the App Exchange out there for a while, forever, what seems like. Google has their marketplace out there. So there's been a bunch of, cloud players that have had these app exchanges or the marketplaces out there before Amazon has, and
application marketplaces, right?
Yeah, but there's more to the AWS marketplace than just applications. It looked like there was some.
Well, some of them are booting up
services as well.
Yeah, but they're always booting up a stack, basically a stack. Yeah. So, but you're starting off with a hardware virtualization, and then you're throwing an operating system on top of that, and then you're throwing on top of that some sort of application stack.
It's nice to see them there because it's always, to me, been a little black boxy. Like, how do I use this Amazon thingamajiggy? Like, I know it's out there and it's super powerful, but I don't know. I can't boot anything up on it. Make it easy for me. Put a interface on top of it where I can click and install software. And
yeah, that's the thing. It's generally getting you a Linux. It's generally getting a Unix variety thing. These are all pre-bundled, so it runs all the scripts to get them started. So like that software that we use all the time, they've done this, but they've done it internally, and it kind of builds it out as they go. It basically builds a box, gets it up, puts their software on it, and then boots up the box for you to use. I think it's great. I actually want to go play with it more. I'd love to go try. I'll go sign up, spend a couple bucks, and try some of them just to see how it works, and like how far does it go down the path? Like, do I get to click, and then get sent a login, and then I'm on a web interface, or then do I have to boot down to SSH into something? Anyway, really interesting. Thanks for pointing it out. I'm excited. That's good stuff. All right, other stuff I'm completely excited about. CloudFocus app picks of the week. Go, Justin, now.
All right.
Stop. No, go.
You want me to stop or go?
Go now.
What do you want from me?
Go now.
I'm picking a free plugin or add-on or whatever they call them now for Firefox called REST Client.
Wow, a Firefox plugin. Extension? I don't know.
I think they used to be called extensions. Now they're called add-ons. It's called REST Client. It's all one word. You can find it at restclient.net, and it's a very simple interface built right into Firefox that you can send. You can send messages to a REST API and get the results.
Why would you want to send anything to a REST API?
It's a debugging tool. If you're doing integrations, if you're mucking around with the REST API and you need to send things to it and get the results in a body in a nice, easy to don't want to leave your browser kind of way.
Yep, last night after dinner,
Free.
I was mucking around with some REST APIs.
Sometimes you're just mucking around with REST APIs. Free. Really well done, very easy to use, clean user interface.
And it's available for what?
Firefox.
I'm not sure what that is. What is that?
That is a browser.
I have not booted up my Firefox in at least...
Well, REST Client was a good reason to boot up my Firefox.
That is good.
Because it was a nice, easy, free, simple, dead simple way to send queries to an API and get the results in a body.
I will say, just on a side note, great pick. I have not used it. I might not use it. But if you have not checked out Firefox in a while, they have done a ton of work, and they are also burning through versions. They are currently on 9, and I just booted it up, and it's now downloading some 9-something. So,
I boot my Firefox all the time.
And what are you on?
I'm on 11.
Okay.
11.0.
I'm still on 9. So... and it's really, really taken off. I will say the problem I've had in the past with Firefox updates is they update so fast that the extensions can't keep up. And so, like, the ones I use and love that I used to use, like web, they have all these SEO ones and webmaster tools. I could do an entire show of picks for Firefox extensions. I can never use them because they always says not compatible, not compatible, not compatible. But anyway, very cool. So it's a REST API. REST client.
Yep.
Cool. For Firefox. And free. My pick is not free. My pick is something that, for all of you who want to go paperless and want to scan things, you can scan things with scanners, obviously. But in the last couple of weeks, I've been, more and more I've been moving around. I don't want to scan things. I actually saw an ad, you've probably seen it on commercial, for the Neat scanner that they say take it on the go, take it with you, right? And they have a little portable one. I actually own one of those, but I always think about taking this box with me to scan things. They're always, well, when you're at a conference on vacation, you want to scan things in, and I'm like, I don't want to take a piece of hardware so I can scan in 5 receipts. So I went looking around, for other software, and I think this showed up on a list of like 10 must-have business software or something, and it's called Scanner Pro. And it is a iOS application. They might have a version for Android. Do not know. It is universal, which is very nice. So it works on both the iPad and the iPhone. And it does a very basic thing, although does it well. And that's sort of nice. You take pictures of documents. It then builds them into PDFs. And then you can do something with them. So you can send them to Dropbox or email them. I actually emailed you one the other day in pre-testing for this show, a listing of apartments.
Oh, that was from this?
Yes, it was.
That's why it looked so crappy.
Yeah, it looked sort of crappy.
Sorry.
No, I mean, you've got all these settings I haven't really figured out, but I've done some other ones that look great. But basically, you take a picture, it recognizes where the thing is, it does some recognition, and then allows you to sort of send it to different places, or you can store it. The one feature it does that kind of makes it, well, why is this different than taking a picture?
Thank you.
You're about to ask that?
I was about to say, why can't I just take a picture of things?
Stop! Okay. Because what it'll do is you can take a picture of one, and then it'll say, okay, next page. Take a picture, next page. So you can basically take 5 or 6 pictures, and it'll build it into one PDF for you on your device.
That's kind of nice.
So it is $600. No,
it is $7 million.
It is $6.99, which on the App Store is sort of towards the high. But if you think you're not buying a scanner to do this, now this isn't for scanning 50 documents at a time. The scanner I have at home, which I love, Scan Pro, Fujitsu Scan Pro, 5,000 or 5,200 or 3,210 or whatever, I can throw in a stack of 50 documents, hit go, and it goes and
Is that what it does?
Yeah, and sends them over to me. That's great. This is not for that. But this is if you get a document signed, or you guys send it back as a PDF. We have the person who shall not be named had this problem the other day, and if he had this piece of software, he would have been able to do this because he was like, "Oh, my printer's not acting up." You want to scan a couple pieces of paper, and 3 to 4 to 5, build them as a PDF, and send them to somebody. It's a pretty good app, and it does what it does. Nice integration with web clients, so it can do Dropbox, it can do iCloud, I think, and it can do one other. It can do any web dev. So if you have a web dev client, it can do that as well. So it's Scan Pro for $6.99, available on the iTunes App Store, whatevs. Try it out. I bought it. I've been using it. Again, just a nice, wherever you are, take a picture and go. All right, so that's it for this week. As my Firefox reboots. You always go to blog.arkusinc.com, don't you?
I'm there every single day.
So the new blog post will be up soon. I told you not to publish the podcast and the blog post on the same day, so one will follow. We'll do the podcast first, and the blog post will be right after. But there's always a new blog post a week, and there's probably always a podcast a week, so go there to figure it out. Also, follow us on Arkus Inc., twitter.com/Arkus Inc., or facebook.com/Arkus Inc., which if you want to communicate with us or see when we're doing. I'm at Jason at twitter.com/Jason M. Atwood. Justin's at twitter.com/JustEdelstein. And we're also on Google Plus. If you're there, there are people there, and we are there too. And you can subscribe on iTunes if you want to get the podcast, or on our favorite Instacast if you missed one of our episodes. Still using it?
Every day.
Yep, love it. And we'd love for you to leave a review. Hadn't had some reviews, so if you're on iTunes, we'd love for you to leave a review of the podcast there. That would be great. And that's it for us, from Justin and myself here at CloudFocus Weekly, saying enjoy those cloudy days.